Y'all know we came a long way. This the new No Limit family, and we've been we've been through the struggle. We've been on top. We want to thank. First of all, I got to thank the man up above, because without him, could none of this happen.
Today's talk is about one of the most famous record labels in 90s hip-hop history. With a marketing expert in charge, the label was easily known for its flashy pen and pixel album covers and made a name for quickly making longer albums with up to 20 songs on the project. I'm talking about Master P's brand, No Limit Records, who once released 23 albums in 1 year, and they were hits. P made a special spot for himself, turning the family-run business into a diverse enterprise that, at its peak, also had a clothing line, film production division, and sports management team. Sadly, at the top of its success, the label fell apart due to internal conflicts in the 90s, and the once all-star team dwindled in just 2 years. After the company fell, new hip-hop families took over the game, like Dr. Dre's Aftermath, YMCMB, leaving No Limit Records a soon-to-be forgotten memory of hip-hop's golden era. So the question is, what caused one of the most successful brands of its time to collapse? Today, we'll explore that in a story filled with family arguments, greed, and a too big ego. So, let's get into it. What up guys, Ali here and welcome to Ali Talks Music. Add me on Instagram at Ali Talks Music as well. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Now let's get into the video.
I'd imagine that time would be a bit of a blur, but like, what do you remember of the process?
It was like a factory, you know. It's like a factory, but we had fun doing it.
Albums were getting done quick. You had 5 producers. I go to you, I don't even get time to listen to it. Now I go to the next room to him, to him, to him, and keep coming back around till my album was done.
The story of No Limit Records begins around 1990, when a 20-year-old named Percy Robert Miller, aka Master P, opened up a small record store named No Limit Records and Tapes in the East Bay area of Richmond, California. P had gotten the money to start the business from an inheritance after his grandfather passed away and from a malpractice settlement, and he was motivated to make it a success after his brother was killed that same year in New Orleans. Seeing the store as a way to change his life and better the lives of his family, P named the company No Limit because he believed that there was no limit to what he could achieve if he put his mind to it. Breaking down the basics of marketing, Master P built a legacy from scratch, closely observing what kind of rap tapes people were buying, how they learned about them at the store, and using that insight at the retail level to keep growing the company into something bigger. I deliberately chose the name No Limit Records, cause from day one, I believed that there was no limit to what I could achieve if I really put my mind to it. The shop would quickly evolve into a full-out label imprint, and from the beginning, it was a family affair. The first artists signed to No Limit Records were Master P himself, his 2 brothers, Silk the Shaka, then known simply as Silk, and C Murder, and his wife Sonia. In the first 4 years, before it officially became a label, they mostly released music by family members. So, around 1991, Master P dropped his debut album, Get Away Clean, followed by his second album, Mama's Bad Boy, in 1992. Around this time, Master P signed his first in-house producer and solo artist, EA-Ski, and they dropped his debut album, One Step Ahead of Y'all. The same year, he teamed up with his brothers to form the group True or The Real Untouchables, a group that frequently included other artists, but primarily featured the Millers.
That would make us different than the other record companies and record labels out there. We independent, black owned, but we family, you know what I'm saying? Silk, that's my brother, you know what I'm saying? C Murder, that's my brother. We all one big family, the whole True, we the cousins, partners, we done grew up together, you know, and I think that's what make it different than the rest of the labels that out there. We all loyal to what we do.
Together, they dropped their debut album, Understanding the Criminal Mind, which, although a No Limit project, it came out on another minor label and only was released through No Limit Records around 1998.
I was cold chilling in the crib, thinking about this girl and the way she made me feel.
2 more albums dropped around 1993. True's Who's the Killer, which was also only re-released on No Limit Records around 1998, and Sonia C's Married to the Mob. Until this point, every single project was marketed under the No Limit brand and sold in the store, even though the True projects were dropped under a different banner. But 1994 was a turning point, as No Limit was officially established as an imprint, and the label broke into the mainstream. The True Crew was officially signed to the imprint, and 4 albums were dropped that year. Newly signed artist, Little Rick's debut, Deep in the Game, Master P's, The Ghetto's Trying to Kill Me, and 2 compilation albums titled West Coast Bad Boys Volume 1, another label of Game, and West Coast Bad Boys High for Christmas, a Christmas-themed hip-hop album. The West Coast Bad Boys' projects were the most successful of the lot, prompting Master P to expand his roster and dedicate more time to it exclusively. Around 1995, Master P closed the shop and relocated No Limit Records to the brothers' hometown of New Orleans, Louisiana. There, the label officially signed other affiliated acts of True, like Big Ed, King George, and Cali G. Master P continued to expand his roster, welcoming several new acts including Mia X, the first female rapper on the roster, Oakland rapper Dangerous Dame, New Orleans rapper and producer Skullduggery, and Mr. Servon, a longtime affiliate of the label and P's friend from high school. No Limit's album releases that year included Dangerous Dame's Escape from the Mental World, Mia X's Good Girl Gone Bad, Trey 8's Ghetto Stories, Master P's 99 Ways to Die, True's True, and the roster compilation album Down South Hustlers, Bouncing and Swinging. While none of the albums were a huge commercial success, 99 Ways to Die gained extra publicity after a teenager from Hayward blamed his armed robbery spree on the album's lyrics.
99 ways to die. Survival of the fittest, only one way to stay alive.
Additionally, Bouncing and Swinging achieved regional and national recognition. Even if it wasn't a big seller, it helped the imprint to secure a distribution deal that same year. Master P inked the deal with Priority Records, a major label at the time, which allowed him to maintain ownership of his masters as well as the imprint's recording studio. He always emphasized the importance of independence and owning the work he produced, which was evident in the favorable terms he secured for No Limit. Being independent means you get 100%, whereas if you're signed, you might get 15% of the profits, if you're lucky. It's important to control all of your finances. Master P developed a unique business model, which involved self-production, marketing, and distribution. He also established his own record studio, No Limit Studios, which meant that he himself had complete control over the label's output. His main production team was a crew called Beats by the Pound and was helmed by his cousin producer Moby Dick alongside KLC, Craig B, Odell, Carlos Steffens, and DJ Daryl.
Up there that try to stop me from getting the rumors I had dropped. I'm back from the grave. That's I never put my rap in KLC Brave. You know we did. Swamp nigga. Go get him.
The crew produced the vast majority of the label's output between 1995 and 1999. In 1996, the label continued to grow, and although they lost their first member with Lil Rick's departure, the label gained 2 new acts, solo artist Mystical and the twin rappers Cain and Abel, who began working with Master P around 1995 under the name Double Vision, while they were signed to another label.
Hey, tell us about that shot. You was like on top of the basketball.
I'm the rapper I'm the one that they look up to when they won't know how to do it. So that's why they put me up there. That was all about you.
So if all y'all don't know, this is Mystical, who don't need no introduction.
Yeah, you can tell them again. This is Mystical right here, the man right here.
You the man.
Make sure they know you.
That year, the imprint released 4 albums: Silk's The Shocker, Skullduggery's Hoodlum for Life, Cain and Abel's 7 Sins, and Master P's Ice Cream Man. Among these, Ice Cream Man stood out as the label's breakthrough project, becoming the first No Limit album to receive platinum certification from the RIAA.
The Ice Cream Man, Mr. Ice Cream Man.
So at this point, they were winning, and 1997 was as pivotal to No Limit as the other years, as they transitioned from a smaller independent label to a major industry player. They established a film division called No Limit Films and debuted with the semi-autobiographical gangster film I'm 'Bout It, starring Master P and Moon James. The film featured a variety of No Limit artists and acting roles. Initially rejected by multiple film distributors, Master P turned this into a marketing gimmick by labeling this film as banned in theaters across the country, a move that proved to be very successful as the film became a success. Also accompanying the film was a soundtrack, which also helped to promote the new artists on the label, which include Young Bleed, Steady Mobbin', Sons of Funk, Mac, Prime Suspects, The Gambino Family, Mercedes, and the former big boy artists Mystical and Fiend. This soundtrack itself reached platinum status.
What you think, nigga? What you think, nigga? What you think, nigga? What you think, nigga?
That year, No Limit dropped 7 more albums in addition to the soundtrack, including West Coast Bad Boys 2, True's True to the Game, Steady Mobbin's Premeditated Drama, Mia X's Unladylike, Mr. Servon's Life Insurance, Master P's Ghetto D, and Mystical's Unpredictable. A lot of these projects went platinum and gold. However, despite these successes, the roster experienced another loss with the departure of producer and rapper E.A. Ski. Which brings us to the year 1998, a landmark year for No Limit Records, famously known as the year that they dropped 23 albums. It was the year the label etched itself into history, and when Master P's ego began to grow. Previously, around 1997, the label had moved to a new location in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and signed its first blockbuster artist, Snoop Dogg. Fresh from his highly publicized departure from Death Row Records, Snoop joined No Limit around March of 1998 and dropped The Game Is to Be Sold, Not to Be Told.
Slow down.
With Pharrell.
Yeah.
You did an album with Master P.
Yeah.
You
I did 3 albums with Master P.
3 albums.
Yeah,
with
when I
Master
left Death Row Records, I signed with No Limit Records, which was the hottest rap label in the industry.
This is true.
When I signed with No Limit Records, they was the hottest in the rap industry. They was the only niggas getting money in the industry.
Right.
I'm not.
So how
I'm
was
not.
that?
Wait a minute, let me
It
finish.
changed the
Let me
industry.
finish.
It changed the
I got to
industry.
say this because this
Yeah,
is
please.
very
This is
important.
true. Please.
Puffy and them was rocking, but they wasn't getting no money like Master P was. Like, and I had been around they camp. I had been around Def Jam. I was on
Right.
Death Row. I had seen all the niggas that supposedly had the money. Master P had the motherfucking money.
True independent.
The album quickly went double platinum, selling 500,000 copies in its first week alone, and setting a record as the label's most successful release at that time. Out of the 23 albums that came out that year, 9 received RIAA certifications, marking 1998 as the most triumphant year in the label's history so far. Then, the label's roster continued to grow in size and popularity, adding several new artists like Soulja Slim, Full Blooded, Magic, Short Circuit, and Ghetto Commission. No Limit's next film project, I Got the Hookup, filled its cast with label artists.
Star
it up, then I leave.
Following the success of I'm 'Bout It, this film was picked up for distribution by Miramax and Dimension Films and became No Limit's first theatrical release, dropping around 1998. It grossed about $10.3 million at the box office against a $3.5 million budget and even spawned a sequel around 2019. The corresponding soundtrack, also titled I Got the Hookup, contributed further to No Limit's successful year by earning a platinum certification from the RIAA. As No Limit Records grew, so did its ventures and the ambitions of its founder, Master P. He broadened the scope of the company to include real estate, filmmaking, and even wrestling.
I want to let y'all know today is a special day, you heard me? Where all the No Limit soldiers at?
However, as Master P shifted his focus away from music, tensions began to surface within the label. He had brokered significant deals, including a $10 million 5-picture agreement with Trimark and a partnership with WCW where No Limit soldiers would wrestle the West Texas Rednecks. Master P's dominance in the hip-hop world and his expanding interests led him to believe he was more crucial than others, leading to ego clashes within No Limit. A significant dispute arose with his in-house production team, Beats by the Pound. With Master P often absent from the studio, managing the company's diverse ventures, communication between him, his artists, and producers suffered. As he grew wealthier and more detached, the personal connections that he had built No Limit upon began to fade away. Now, according to one source, the friction between Master P and the producers ignited over a business decision when Beats by the Pound hesitated over a potential deal, leading Master P to dismiss their concerns to their business partners brashly. This incident, reportedly overheard by P's cousin Moby Dick, escalated the tensions. According to information received earlier, the producers felt like they were undervalued in the company and were not taken care of by Master P. Now, this period marked a turning point where internal conflicts began to overshadow the label's operations, contributing significantly to its struggles, especially as Master P pursued a personal interest in a basketball career, a path his team could not follow. Beats by the Pound departed No Limit around 1999, refashioning themselves as the Medicine Men. As a result, KLC's project, Hits by the Pound, was shelved, and with their departure, the No Limit label began to crumble. According to Master P, Beats by the Pound left because they wanted to be independent. It never became personal. Beats by the Pound wanted to be their own boss. I didn't have to create a Beats from the Pound. I could have paid for whatever the top production there was at the time. I believed in these guys. When you give opportunity to somebody that's ungrateful, that's really sad because they wouldn't have had that opportunity without me. On the other hand, Beats by the Pound had something to say about their time on No Limit, and according to them, disrespect and money was the reason why they left the label. Now back to 1999. After the heavy criticism that P was drawing due to essentially losing half of his day ones, he decided to come out of retirement and drop another album, the gold certified Only God Can Judge Me, which he claimed to release only to get his message across. 16 albums were dropped that year, but the imprint was hemorrhaging artists as well as sales, and aside from P's album, only 5 found success. Silk's Made Man went platinum, C Murder's Borsalini went gold, the label's third soundtrack album Foolish also went gold, and there was also Snoop's album and True's gold certified The Crime Family. The departure of the in-house production team, Beats by the Pound, had a very profound impact on No Limit Records. Despite Master P's somewhat dismissive attitude towards their leaving, the roster felt the loss very deeply. In fact, many harbored doubts about the label's sustainability without them. Master P quickly brought in new producers who were undoubtedly talented, but the transition was not very smooth. The sense that No Limit could never again be the tight-knit family it once was became apparent, prompting artists to leave. Mia X, one of the label's most prominent artists, chose to leave the industry to focus on her personal life. And according to her, the reason why Master P's label fell is because Master P decided to pursue a basketball career. This period marked a significant turning point for No Limit, as it struggled to maintain its identity and cohesion amidst these internal conflicts and departures. He had decided to pursue a whole thing in basketball, and No Limit, we was used to being just together. It was a family unit. We were very close, and when he decided to play basketball, he had to bring in an unfamiliar staff. And so a lot of things just started to break down. Cain and Abel were also dropped due to a drug investigation around 1999. The decline of No Limit Records continued through the 1990s and into the early 2000s, marked by numerous artists leaving the label and legal troubles. As mentioned earlier, Cain and Abel were dropped from the label amid a federal drug investigation, and according to the twins, the authorities had attempted to use them to monitor Master P, but they refused to cooperate. As the roster continued to dwindle, significant artists like Mercedes retired from music, while Skullduggery, Mr. Serv-On, and Fiend chose to pursue solo careers. The group's Sons of Funk, Steady Mobbin', Prime Suspects, and the Gambino family all departed after just 2 years within the label. And by 2000, Ghetto Commission, Mystical, and Big Ed had also left, significantly shrinking the once expansive roster to mainly include Master P, his brother Silk the Shocker and C Murder, Snoop Dogg, whose contract was still active, Magic, and Mac. Entering the 21st century, No Limit struggles persisted with only a few successful releases, including the 504 Boys', Goodfellas, and Master P's Ghetto Postage, both achieving gold status, and Snoop Dogg's The Last Meal, which went platinum.
I'm messing double OP. Yes, I am.
However, 2001 brought further challenges as Mac was imprisoned for manslaughter, and C Murder distanced himself to focus on his own imprint, True Records. Additionally, Snoop Dogg left the label and moved to Priority Records after his contract expired, coinciding with Priority's decision to not renew their distribution contract with No Limit. Attempting to reverse the downward trend, Master P rebranded the label as The New No Limit, with a $10 million distribution deal with Universal Records. The label's reformed roster included Master P, his young son Little Romeo, his brother Silk the Shocker, the 504 Boys, Magic, and Choppa. Romeo's debut album, Little Romeo, went gold, becoming the last album under Master P to gain certification. Now, despite the efforts to revitalize the label, No Limit could not regain its former glory and filed for bankruptcy around 2003, leading Master P to sell the catalog. Master P still dropped some albums between 2004 and 2005 under a distribution deal with Koch, mostly compilations featuring himself, his brothers, and his sons, with a few new albums from his relatives. Ultimately, the only limit to No Limit was, ironically, Master P himself. His mismanagement and failure to maintain the label's core elements led to its downfall. The label was resurrected in 2010 as No Limit Forever Records by Little Romeo. However, it functions primarily as a mixtape imprint and is a far cry from its days as a dominant force in the music industry.
They had plaques. As far as you can see, the whole wall was filled with plaques. Them boys did more in a year than most record companies do in their whole tenure.
That's it for me, it's your boy Ali. What happened to No Limit Records in your opinion? Let me know it down below. Also add me on Instagram at Ali Talks Music. Till next time, peace.
I wrote wrote and recorded 16 songs in 10 days. And it came out #2 on the top 200, and the only person who was on top of me was Celine Dion. And how could you be mad at that? That's Celine Dion.